Power at our fingertips and instant access to electricity is something we take for granted, but for those that don't have it, it's a huge barrier to daily life. As an architecture student during my year out in practice, I worked what I thought was my dream job. Grand designs type houses on private beaches, private islands, but what I found really hard was that I was working for wealthy clients, but using barefoot Bangladeshi construction workers to build these houses. So at that point, I decided that I wanted to gear all of my studies upon my return to uni to working with the poor and not for the rich. The best way to tackle sustainable development problems was using participatory design. And that means that you get community buy-in throughout the design process of solutions rather than going in with preconceived ideas. Now the first step in that process is to identify the problems, and for that reason we designed My Favourite Place. My Favourite Place is a children's photography workshop that asks kids to answer 10 questions with a photograph. Questions range from, this is my family, this is my favourite food, this is my favourite place, all the way through to, this is something I would like to improve. And the reason that we designed it for children is that kids are the future generations. They're full of energy, full of creativity, and it's those people that we wanted to empower. They're telling us what the problem is, and it's the kids who aren't afraid to tell us. The parents in these communities are very proud. They don't necessarily want to be seen to be weak or to highlight problems, whereas the kids are quite happy to take photos anywhere in the home, you know. So a team of us booked flights to Dakar in Senegal, rented a pickup truck and headed off into the dusty bush. So with nothing more than a phone number, we met Sharif. We were expecting a suited and booted businessman. Sharif turned up in flip-flops with a donkey-drawn cart. This was rural Africa. So Sharif very quickly realised that if we really wanted to experience daily challenges in rural Africa firsthand, that we would need a homestay. We drove half an hour off the main highway, off the main road, into the bush, and eventually turned up at a village called Njo. And it's there that over the next 5 hours till about 2 AM in the morning, we negotiated with the village chief permission to live with him and his family and to engage with his villagers. Life in rural Africa starts at sunrise because daylight is precious. So over the next 2 weeks, we engaged with 1,300 villagers, 3 schools, and hundreds of children. It was super insightful. There was no running water, no electricity, and experiencing the challenges of daily life as our communities, our villagers did, was extremely humbling. The difference in what the kids captured versus what we experienced was very raw and honest, right? So like when we were engaging with the villagers, problems were presented to us in a round table discussion, whereas the kids, there's a picture of the problem, you know? I think it was just really raw, really honest. After a few days living without electricity, we knew ourselves that living in darkness at night was a huge challenge. But when we started to speak to the teachers a little bit more to understand like what does impact on kids' attainment, what is stopping them doing well in school, it became apparent pretty quick that not being able to do their homework at night due to a lack of electricity, due to a lack of light, was the #1 challenge. So we knew that this was a challenge that we wanted to fix. And the way that we are tackling this problem is with a social business, a buy-to-give business model. We as an organisation, as a company, did not want to be reliant on handouts in order to solve this problem for children in Africa. We wanted to use the power of enterprise and commerce to create something that was financially self-funding and self-sustaining, which is why we created Power a Life. It's all fine and well saying we're going to make a difference, but we had to prove it. With partnered schools in Zimbabwe, we created a pilot project, an experiment, to see what the impact having solar lights is for kids in their class tests. So the experiment is very simple. Kids in Zimbabwe are tested every 2 weeks in the core subjects of English and maths. And what we were able to do is prove that in grades 4, 5 and 6 who received solar lights, we have improvements for every kid in every subject in every year that we tested. Improvement across the board, right? The biggest improvement was in grade 5 maths, who went from a 19% class average to 56% in the space of 2 months, meaning they tripled their math scores in only 8 weeks because they can do their homework at night. But the impact doesn't stop there. Kids in Zimbabwe that can get 50% in English and maths in primary school become eligible to graduate onto high school. So there are entire generations of children who have received solar lights that will now progress onto secondary school. And the difference is, well, yeah, this is the life-changing bit. Kids that go on to high school have higher earning potentials, they have better health, they have more opportunities in life, and are far more likely to lift themselves and their communities out of poverty. Boom. The gift of a solar light when buying a Power Life product completely transforms lives. We know our chargers are the world's most empowering. Charge your life, power a life.